Hi madam, my name is Geetanjali Perumal Parathi. Okay, so for this project, I basically looking at how Malaysian English sounds different from standard English when it is used in news reading. So I took one news paragraph and I listened carefully to how the newsreader pronounced certain words, especially in terms of the stress, vowels, rhythm, and intonations. What I noticed from the analysis I did that is the pronunciation of the Malaysian English speaker isn't wrong, but it follows a different pattern from compared to the standard English. First of all, I'll talk about how words are word stress, because this is where the difference is very, very obvious. Okay, in standard English, the stress usually comes later in the word, but in Malaysian English, the stress often comes earlier. For an example, the word appreciate in standard English, it is pronounced as appreciate. Appreciate. The last syllable is the stressed one. As in the opposite, the Malaysian English, the speaker pronounced it as appreciate. Appreciate. The beginning syllable is got stressed. So it is very obvious that the first syllable is stressed in Malaysian English. And moving on to the second word, which is preparations. The same thing happens with preparations. Like in standard English, it's preparations. Preparations. The shins is got stressed, like meaning to say that the last syllable is stressed. But in Malaysian English, the speaker pronounced it like preparations. Like preparations. There is no high pitch or low pitch here. All of it are literally same, where the syllable sounds stronger and clearer to be said. Very clear. Like it is said as preparations. So this shows that Malaysian English doesn't reduce stress as much as standard English does. Okay, now moving on to the second part of the data analysis is vowel reduction. So in standard English, vowel is unstressed. Positions are usually reduced to a schwa sound, meaning to say that the vowels all will become as schwa sounds. Like for an example, the word the word to itself become t in standard English, but in Malaysian English it stays like the vowels stays fully, like the vowels pronounced fully and stays the same. Like for an example, the word to pronounced as to only, not t or anything else as in standard English. The speaker pronounced the word to as to only. So that is an example I could give based on the paragraph I've chose. So it is like instead of t, we hear to in the audio that I've chose, and also instead of the we hear the, like the full sound the. Like even in the word preparations, the first syllable is not heavily reduced also. Because of this, Malaysian English sounds clearer and more evenly pronounced. And moving on to the next part of the data analysis, which is focused on the rhythm, stress timed, and syllable time. Yeah. So when I look at the overall rhythm, this difference becomes even more clearer to me. So that in standard English, the stress, okay, to be honest, standard English is stress timed, which meaning to say that stressed syllables are longer and unstressed ones are rushed. While Malaysian English, on the other hand, is more syllabled time, meaning to say that each syllables take about the same amount of time, while standard English will be like rush the words, some syllable sounds. That's why Malaysian English sounds more regular, steady, and it is even the tone is even in the news reading itself. So the function words like to, the, and of are not rushed, so nothing sounds swallowed or unclear in Malaysian English. And also it is in the audio I've chosen. And moving on to the intonation next. Intonation, like it is like, okay, for an example, in standard English, it uses more pitch movement, like the voice goes ups and down, show emphasis on new information. But Malaysian English has much flatter pitch, like the voice stays very calm and steady with only small changes in tone itself. So this gives that the news reader a neutral and controlled delivery. And sometimes it might be sounds less expressive because it actually helps the listeners focus on the content itself. So it might be less expressive sometimes, but it is not actually. And moving on to the proper nouns, yeah. Proper nouns, like this, the pronunciation style is especially useful for proper nouns. Like for an example, the word Convention Center. Kuala Lumpur Convention Center. In Malaysian English, each part of the name is pronounced very clear with more than one stress in each syllable. But in standard English, it usually only one main stress is used in the word when it is pronounced. Like by pronouncing the vowels longer and clearer, Malaysian English makes the unfamiliar place names easier to understand for the listeners, to the audience. And yeah, that's it as for the data analysis and all. And to conclude my presentation, um, overall, Malaysian English is not incorrect, but it simply allows a different phonological system compared to standard English, which it has earlier stress, displacement, fuller vowels, and syllable time rhythm and flatter intonation. And even these features like make Malaysian English news reading clear, very clearer, steady, and suitable for multilingual audience. And that is why maybe I think that Malaysian English news reader sounds calm and consistent rather than more dramatic. Yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.